Hello, geeks. So should we sing?
Yeah, I don't know how to follow that. That was great.
Inspirational.
Inspirational.
Toni, you are the Vice President of Alexa Experience and Echo Devices at Amazon. Maybe describe for us what that means. What do you do and what don't you do at Amazon?
I do a little bit of everything in my role, but I'm responsible for the Alexa core experiences. A lot of those are the experiences that cut across multiple feature sets. My team is responsible for setting what we call the customer experience North Star, so where we want to go in the future and how we might get there. I'm also responsible for our global efforts, as well as our Echo devices product line.
So Amazon has this process called the working backwards process, which I've always found really fascinating. It's this idea that basically when you have some new project or initiative that you're going to do, the team behind it comes together and writes a press release. I don't know, maybe it's 2 pages or 3 pages, but it's a narrative, complete sentences. And this is a approach that your CEO, Jeff Bezos, has kind of institutionalized there as a way of encouraging clear thinking. I thought it might be interesting for you to walk us through what that working backwards process looked like for Echo. What did the press release look like for Echo before Echo existed?
Yeah, it's a process that I actually love as a product person. It's a way to really clarify and create a crisp idea of what you're building, why, what good will it do for customers. And the vision for what is now Alexa and Echo was simply, it was very Star Trek driven, but it was to build a computer in the cloud that was completely controlled by your voice. And so the press release, we write it as if we're speaking to customers and why you need this, why we're going to simplify your life, reduce friction, whatever it may be. And you know, the trick and the kind of vision for this was how do you take that idea and manifest itself into the home, and what did that look like? And what that ended up looking like was Echo, the device, which was this, largely a speaker that was designed to disappear in the home, be ready and waiting for when you needed it.
And so there are really 2 things there. There is the product, and then there is the AI, the artificial intelligence, Alexa. Did Alexa predate Echo?
They came together as one press release, but they're really at this point, 2 very different things. You have a set of devices where we continue to innovate in the Alexa voice service. We're creating new features and new interaction models. So this past summer, we released Echo Show, which was taking us a step function change from our previous device, which was a device without a screen, completely voice forward, to now having a device with a screen and continuing to be voice forward in our experience, but utilize that screen to be helpful, delightful, have glanceable information. And so those processes, the working backwards process, is used not just to create new products and new business lines, they're also used to create simple new features and skills, for customers. And so you can use it for varying degrees of complexity or a new product line.
So when I think of your device, your devices that you've created over time, the Kindle is probably the original and best example, and I think of that as being a really obvious, in hindsight, location for you to go into. It's a book reading device. You were in the book business. It totally made sense. Even the phone, I think, kind of made sense, but in a way, because there are all sorts of shopping opportunities there. When I look at Echo, it doesn't seem obvious to me why you did that, why that was a way to fulfill one of your, kind of mandates, which is to be the most customer-centric company in the world. Why did you think a speaker with an AI in it would be something that customers wanted, would make their lives better?
We have a strong belief that voice will be a big part of the future and the big part of how customers interact with technology. And we've had this view for many years. The team has been working on parts of the Alexa service for many years. And with that in mind, we knew that there was an interaction, a new model that we wanted to create for customers to make their lives more simple, to reduce friction. And that's still very much in line with how Amazon thinks about customer focus, customer kind of forward features and businesses, and Alexa was no different.
I think the thing, one of the things that's so remarkable about Echo is that it came out 3 years after Apple had introduced Siri in the iPhone, where it became sort of the first mass market AI. And then you come out, I mean, you have a sort of Fire Phone business that didn't go so well. Then you come out with Echo, and it's a real testament, I think, to the risk-taking at Amazon there. I mean, were there voices inside the company that said, others have this covered, we have no business being in this, in this area of AIs because it's all going to happen on the phone?
Sure, there were skeptics. Some of them inside the team even, I've heard good stories that, what the team was trying to solve for had never been done. And so to be able to create an experience where you can speak across the room 15, 20 feet away, to cancel out all the background noise in a busy household, and to take that, understand it, convert that to automatic speech recognition and not have garbage in, so it's garbage out. And there were huge skeptics that not only would it be hard that we could build it, and then it would be good enough for customers. And I think skepticism is actually really good in a product development process. It keeps teams on their toes. You have to listen to those skeptics as well to find out why they're skeptical and are there blind spots that the team who's working on it may not be aware of.
So 3 years ago, you come out with the original Echo. Now, fast forward, we have a family of devices. We have tens of millions of Echo devices sold.
Tens of millions of Alexa devices.
So that's a subtle distinction. So there are third-party devices that have Alexa in it, but can we assume that the vast majority of those Alexa devices are Echoes?
Many of them are Echo devices.
Many of them are. So somewhere between 20 million and whatever, 100 million. I presume you will say we've sold 100 million when you sell 100 million.
That's a good question.
Okay, we'll wait for that. So what are people doing with these devices? You talked a little bit about this at your recent Echo event, but don't give me the full range, but like the vast majority, what are they doing? How often are they using these devices? Yeah,
we have a lot of core features that a large number of our customers use. And then I would say there's a lot of breadth. So as you can think of, individuals have a varying degree of interest. And the primary use cases on the device are music, listening. It's super delightful, hands-free experience. You can ask for any music, genre, artist, station, radio station, podcast, et cetera, from across the room. That is a large area or kind of a feature that customers use. The other is smart home. And we were actually a bit surprised at how fast the adoption would be for smart home. When we launched Alexa, we had 13 skills. Skills is what we call the features that are capabilities. And just for context, today we have over 25,000 skills. And so the first 13 skills, we didn't have smart home included. And we knew we needed to, but we really thought it was an early adopter skill. And we found that customers were very vocal about wanting it. And we launched it, and it took off like crazy. And what it shows is that mainstream customers were actually ready for smart home, and voice was a way that made that technology even simpler to use. You didn't have to sort of pull out your app and do multiple steps. And we took that a step further this past year at the announcement, where we launched Echo Plus, which now builds a smart home hub into the device. And so customers who are new to smart home, who may not have a hub, can just start out with an Echo Plus. And so smart home has been a high use case and something that we're super excited about.
So I had an Echo in my home. I've written about this, and I connected it to a Wemo light switch and turned my lights on. I found that was incredibly useful. Then I got kind of bold, and I decided to connect it to a wireless control system for my sprinklers, which didn't turn out so well. But the bottom line with that, without getting into all the gory details, is that I found that most people put their sprinklers on timers, and there's a very complicated set of instructions that I felt, at least, that I needed to remember in order to turn on different zones. It was much easier just to pull the app out. To me, this is one of the questions I have for these 25,000 skills is, in smart home devices in particular, is there are situations when it's just easier to pull the app out because you have eyes, and it's just easier to do visually. How do you kind of make it easy enough for people to want to use Echo with these smart home devices?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of our biggest challenges. And sometimes it is easier to pull out an app. Sometimes there are too many steps, or it's easier to visually kind of process some information. Our jobs, and if we do it right, is to simplify that experience and to cut down the number of steps that you may have to do. We're releasing a new feature called routines, and that's the way I've used a routine, where instead of saying turn off my master bedroom lights, I now just say Alexa, lights off, and I can actually program that to do multiple things, but it just turns off the lights. And so I have to actually say fewer things than I did before. And so we work really hard to try to reduce the friction or the steps in a customer experience. We have a long ways to go. I would say from an AI perspective in general, it's very much day one, but we look for those opportunities all the time.
You were actually talking about your recent Echo event, about your Echoes. Now that people are starting to get more of these around their homes, they're actually going to sense when you're in closer proximity to one particular Echo. So you can just say, turn on the lights, and you don't have to say in the living room, right? Do I have that correct? Like
Yeah.
the Echo nearest to you will turn on the lights that are close enough. So that's one example, I think, of how it gets easier. We've received probably the greatest tribute that any device maker can receive. You've got a spoof on Saturday Night Live, which is the Echo Silver, is it?
Yeah.
This is for senior citizens. They did a kind of a whole commercial around this. But it raised an interesting issue, because I think in that very funny video, the Echo kind of has a conversation, and like when the person rambles on, the device goes and I'm wondering, like, how far away from that kind of experience are we? Is that an actual aspiration for Amazon to have something that kind of listens and tolerates you?
I can't say that we've written the vision such that it tolerates you, but certainly our vision is to be more human-like, and that's what we aspire to, is to behave, as a human would in an interaction, which the Echo Silver did exactly that. That it was kind of spot on, which is when someone's rambling on, that's exactly what you would do. We have a long ways to go. It's very early days for machine learning and AI, and but we absolutely want to get there.
There's this concept in robotics of the uncanny valley, where as robots get closer and closer to kind of human form, the creepier they get in that phase between just total photorealistic robots and kind of more cartoonish robots. Is that a challenge, do you think, for voice? Like, as the conversations start to get more real, then you start to get creeped out by things that fall a little bit short of an actual human interaction?
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen that yet. What we've seen and heard from customers with Alexa is sort of this resonating, delightful experience with her personality. And so we've worked hard to put parts of a personality into the experience. Some of them are very nuanced, some of them are the corny jokes that she tells, etc. I think it's still too early to say. The AIs, I would say, don't feel human-like at this point. But we have seen customers really personalize, and we hear a lot. If you just read the customer reviews, you'll see a lot of people talk about Alexa as part of their family. And it does become this sort of human-like relationship that I think people have developed. Some people have developed with AIs.
One thing I wanted to ask you about is the kind of ecosystem of partners that you have. So you now have companies that are developing these skills, which are, I kind of think of as your apps, but I guess you call them as features. 25,000 is a big number. Like Apple and Google struggle with their app stores and helping people discover the different apps they have in it. And I think of that as being kind of easier in a way because you've got a screen. As you get more of these skills, how are you going to actually get me to the skills that I might be interested in?
Yeah, it's one of our bigger challenges, to be honest, is discovery. So imagine, I mentioned we launched Alexa with 13 skills. Customers could understand that you could read the product detail page and understand most of what you could do. But as we roll out new features daily, it's a cloud-based system, so we can just light up skills every day. It becomes very difficult for customers to know what can I do. And something that you may have tried yesterday, it didn't work, but we roll out the feature today, and you don't know that. And so it's one of our bigger challenges is how do you sort of teach customers about all the capabilities that they have, and how do you do that in a way that is helpful, not annoying. You don't want to push too much communication to a customer. You don't have a screen for a large number of our devices. Obviously, having a screen makes it easier to help customers understand. One of the ways we'll solve the third-party skills side of it is to make those more and more natural so that customers don't necessarily need to know that it's an app or a third-party skill. They just need to say what they're thinking or what they're trying to do, and we do the hard work to go find the right skill for that scenario. That work is on us to do, less on the customer.
It seems like a big part of it also is that if we're talking smart home, your partners are marketing the Alexa capabilities, including the skills and the specific commands you can use when at the point of sale. So if I go into Home Depot, I might see a thermostat that has its Alexa capabilities marketed. So that's presumably one way you do it.
Yep.
On the partnering front, I also wonder, because now you've got this line of products. You just you introduced Echo Show, which has the screen. You have another device with the screen, the Echo Spot. There are companies out there that you want to create hardware. So do you have to be careful about doing products that compete with your partners, or are you basically going to get into every single category that you can imagine out there of Echo devices?
Our process is, from a first-party device product development process, is we start from the customer, work backwards. And we look at all the different places that either customers are telling us they want Alexa, or we anticipate that they will want us in these scenarios. And so, my team has worked to build a new set of products that we think are great for any room in the house. Echo Spot is might be actually my favorite product, and it's going to be perfect for a nightstand or an office. I use mine in my office, and we also have a robust Alexa voice service business with third parties, and we encourage that development. So, because at the end of the day, for us, what is really important is that our customers more broadly are getting access to Alexa. And whether that's through an Echo device or a Sonos device or any others, we're equally happy for our customers to experience that through any of our third-party or first-party devices.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about privacy, because I think it's something every big technology company has to think about and has to talk about as much as possible. In a way, I understand that this question is a little unfair because we all walk around with smartphones that have microphones and cameras on them. Our computers have microphones and cameras. But with Echo, you have a microphone in people's living space, in their most sort of private spaces, now in the bedroom as well. And so we're putting a tremendous amount of trust in Amazon and companies like Amazon that you're not going to have some Equifax-like episode, like a sort of digital privacy Pearl Harbor. And why should we trust you? Like, what is it that you are doing to sort of protect us Echo owners, so that we don't feel violated by some major incident down the line?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and we think deeply about this. Amazon is a very customer-focused company and organization. We really do work backwards from our customers. And when we built Echo and Alexa, I'll just tell you a little bit about that story to kind of answer the question about how we think about privacy. But we built it with privacy in mind from day one. It wasn't something that we tacked on at the end of the product. And so that product development process looked like there's a privacy mic button, on the device, and when that mic is pressed, it's electricity off. It's disconnected from the microphone. When the device is on, it's plugged in, and it's always ready, but it's listening for the wake word and only the wake word. It has on-device keywords spotting. It's detecting just that wake word. We built in, when the audio starts streaming to the cloud, the blue LED lights up. We took it a step further. We have a customer can turn on and have audio sounds so that when your audio is streaming. We give customers transparency and control, so you can actually go in and see what has been streamed to the cloud in your app. You can delete them one by one. You could delete all of your utterances. And so every step of the process, and from a product perspective, we think very carefully about, the customers have put their trust in us with this data. We're in their homes. And we want to be transparent about that with our customers and give them as much control as possible.
I trusted Equifax too. I mean, to the extent I even knew they existed before that happened. But it does feel as though this is going to become a bigger and bigger issue. I think maybe in closing, Echo Spot, I think, is a really interesting example. I mean, this is a device that's now supposed to be on your bedstand or your desk with a camera on it. So is there some assurance that I have visually, the way that you were just describing for the original Echo, that it's not recording me? How do I know?
Yeah, you will, with Echo Dot or Echo Show today would be something that you could see in the market today. You definitely have visual indicators of the same. So when audio is or video is being streamed, in the case of a video call, you've got your picture-in-picture. So we look at each and every single one of those scenarios. There's a clear indication that either video or audio is being streamed. We also have the same functionality with the mute, the privacy button, that you can press it lights up red, and there's no camera or microphone on at that point.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like our time is gone. I really appreciate it, Toni. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.